the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with a roll call and then we'll get to a couple of housekeeping items we have to take care of. Andy, if you don't mind handling the roll call. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Have no one because
And I know we have to handle a reorganization, so I'll make a motion to temporarily elect Mr. San Francisco as the chairman.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. You are the temporary chair.
Open up nominations for election of chair.
Nominate Kevin Baskel to be the chair.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
Yeah,
carries.
thanks.
Motion
Motion
carries.
carries, Kevin.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I will back to being the chairman again. We will have to someone make a motion for a vice chair. Motion.
I'll make motion to nominate Mike Lynch, vice chair.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Congratulations, Mike.
William Henry Harris.
Is it? Temporary chair, real fast. Like
Yeah,
greatest tenure ever. Say you're a lawyer, son.
and
The future is an elected official.
Andy, do we have any other items we have to take care of prior to?
We just sort of recognize that. Recently, as well as having a new alternate sworn in by the board, by a gentleman by the name of Charles Fountain.
We want Ed to say a few words. Sure.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah, just happy to be here for 5 more years.
All right, then we can go ahead and get started. I know we have our first item here, application Z 2022-10, Cellco Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless is looking for a continuance. And we just need to make a motion on.
Yeah, Mr. Baskel, attorney for this applicant submitted a continuance request informally, but also in writing on January 17th, 2023 to my office's attention. So it's been documented.
All right,
17th.
and then so that'll be pushed to February 16th then? It's the 16th is the third Thursday of next month.
Yeah, it's a 60 day.
All right, which puts us March 16th. Okay. All right, March 16th. All right,
But I might as well also note, just to clarify on the record, because this had been previously scheduled and properly advertised, there should not be any additional need for the township to re-advertise. Us doing this on the record tonight is enough and satisfactory notice for the public.
okay. So I'll make a motion to move or for continuance for application Z 2022-10 to be heard on March 16th, 2023. There will be no need to re-advertise. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. Next application, which is also for a continuance, which is Z 2022-35. Thomas Pereira, 3111 Sawmill Road. Looking for a continuance. Do we know, is that just for 30 days, I'm assuming?
I think council's here, wants to put on the record.
Sure.
Sorry for the late. Granting the extension. To your February 16th.
Okay, same deal here, Mr. Bilker, nothing to be re-advertised or anything like that.
That's correct. This was all properly advertised tonight, so the fact that we're doing it on the record should allow us to avoid re-advertising.
Okay. All right, yeah, no problem. I will, I'll make a motion for continuance for application 2022-35 for Thomas Pereira at 3111 Sawmill Road. That will be heard on February 16th. And there will be no need to re-advertise. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
Aye.
No problem. All right, next application is Z 2022-36. Cody Howell of 293 Aronimink Drive. Applicant seeking variance relief from section 172-104 for the placement of a fence beyond the front face of the dwelling. The applicant also requests relief from any other section of the zoning ordinance. Do we have Mr. Howell here? Nope. All right. And before we get started with you, is the file in order?
Brad, we can put up on the screen the physical posting of the property. There's the notice that was sent to property owners and the mailing list to the property owners within 200 feet of the property, and also the proof of publication, the Delco Times.
All right, and Mr. Bilker for the exhibits.
Yeah, my only request is the four exhibits as illustrated. The first being the applicant's application for zoning relief, which I'd be request to be marked as B1. The second, the list of residences that received notice of tonight's hearing. I'd request that be marked as B2. The third is the photograph of the posting at the property notifying residents and neighbors of tonight's hearing. I'd request that be marked as B3. And the notice that was in the Delaware County Daily Times notifying the public at large of tonight's hearing, I'd request that be marked as B4. And my request would be for B1 through B4 to be admitted into evidence and made a part of the record here and tonight.
All right, you got it. Granted. All right, let's get them sworn in. And before we have you get started, one more thing. Do we have anyone here that wishes to make public comment or is a party protestant on this application? No one? All right, have a seat, get comfortable, turn your microphone on. If there's a red light there now, just press it until it goes green. And take us through your application, what you're looking for here.
All right, we have a corner lot that's kind of on Goshen and Aronimink. The front faces towards Goshen and then the sign yard is on Aronimink. We'd like to put up a fence and create a backyard for our dog, basically. So because that side fence kind of faces the road, I think it's considered a front yard per the zoning standards. So we're asking for relief to be able to put that fence up. We did include plans so that you can see the type of fence. It's just a black aluminum fence, not a privacy fence that you could see through. And our plans to include new plants around to kind of create a plant screen, which would mostly hide the fence from the view of the street or from the neighbors. So it's kind of our plan for what we'd like to do. Again, mostly it's so that we can let our dog run in the backyard.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
I guess the issue here is being a corner lot with two.
Front
Okay,
Yards.
The only thing that I would add for the board's consideration would be the fact that there's a right of way established along Aronimink Drive. And if the board was inclined to approving this, that we should make it a condition of your approval that the right of way not be impacted.
okay,
And I can add that note on the permit if we're so desires.
okay,
I don't
yeah,
have the dimension.
okay. No pushback from any neighbors. Have you talked with any of them? I guess really.
Yeah, we
side.
did. There's our neighbor to the across the Aronimink side. She's sweet, great, loves the dog actually. And we went and talked to her and she actually was willing to sign a paper that I think you have in your packet. That she's fully supportive of whatever we need to do to be able to give him a place to run. Stephanie. Last name is Cass. Cass, C-A-S, C-A-S-S. C-A-S-S.
So the right of way is on Aronimink. There's no issue with the right of way from Goshen.
Yeah, according to the plans that are, we have provided, the only impact would be along around.
Okay.
Are you here to fight this, Mr. Score? You just love the front row seat.
Andy, with the right of way, is the right of way going to be not the fence, but maybe the trees and bushes they're gonna put in, or?
Well, the trees and bushes technically our zoning ordinance doesn't allow plantings in the right of way either.
Okay, so that's one may be affected.
The fence would obviously have to be pushed out of the right of way.
Right.
I mean, guess it's up to you if you want to make a decision on the plantings as well.
Well, I guess just because of looking at that previous application we had where the plantings were blocking the right of way and then that had to come out,
Right.
so,
Which are still there.
yeah, some are down. But concern over blocking that view when you come down, that if, you're saying you're doing a black sort of railing style fence, I guess you're saying that you're doing, but not wanting to put any bushes there that would impact the view, see if there's any traffic before making a turn, so, which that's what we're saying we want to put in there, just so you understand what we're talking about.
Does it matter that the planning won't go all the way down to where there's a street? The plants stop at our driveway or well before our driveway.
As long as it's not blocking that view at the corner when you go to
Not
make
at
a
all.
turn. you
As
can't
long as
see
it's
it.
not the right of way.
Yeah,
Well-
it's not blocking anything.
Well, the planting is actually parallel to the curb line.
Right.
For distance, and I'm not, can't speak
Yeah.
accurately to the specific dimension.
Right.
But normally along a roadway such as this, the township has a 50-foot right of way. Typically, it's a 12-foot cartway or 24-foot cartway, which really leaves about 13 feet on either side. So that's the area that we're talking about. It could
Okay.
fluctuate a foot or two.
Please get one. Able. Yeah, there's like a lot of different. I make a motion to approve application Z 2022-36 with the condition that there's no obstruction and there's no impact to the right of way off of Aronimink Drive.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, all right, motion carries. Good luck with your fence.
Bye-bye.
All right, next up is application Z 2022-37, Aqua Pennsylvania, pertaining to the subject property located at 317 North Newtown Street Road. The applicant is seeking either variance relief, special exception, or an interpretational appeal of the zoning officer determination from section 172-141B to allow an addition of an existing 600 square foot pump house. Already here, all right. Andy, is there file in order?
Files in order. Ms. Bradley has the proof of publication up on the screen. I'm sorry, actually, that's the posting of the property. The advertisement and the mailing list that went out to all property owners within 200 feet. And the proof of publication, it was posted in the daily local or the daily Cellco Times on 2 separate occasions.
All right, Mr. Bilker.
All I would ask is to have those documents that were just referenced made a part of the record. The first, the applicant's application for zoning relief, which I would request be marked and identified as B1. The second is the photograph of the notice of the hearing tonight that was posted at the property that I would request be marked as B2. The third is a list of residences. which I'd request be marked as B3, and the fourth is the notice of the Delaware County Daily Times posting, which I'd request be marked as B4. I'd request that those documents be made a part of and included in the record here and tonight.
All right. And do we have anyone here making public comment or wishes to be a party protestant on this application? Right. Okay. All right. All right. Do we want to get them sworn in? All right. As long as it's green, you're good.
Good evening. My name is Denise Yarnock. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, which is Aqua Pennsylvania. As you mentioned, we're here on a request to add an addition to the existing pump house that's located at the water tank location on Newtown Road at 317. I'm sure you're familiar with it. There's an existing pump house building that's located on the property that's behind a row of trees. And the request is to add an addition to that in order to modernize, better operations, better safety, better efficiency, add new equipment to the existing pump house. There are otherwise no changes to the property. The building itself will match the existing building, and there's some very minor stormwater that will be added as a result. We believe that the addition will still be hidden by the row of trees that's currently there, but we'll show you some photographs of that in a minute as well. As you mentioned, we're before you on a couple of different things. When you look at your ordinance for this district, which is the R1 district, there is a permitted use of municipal use. And so we had thought that this could possibly qualify as municipal use because that term isn't defined. There's case law out there that does look at a municipal use as a use that allows for important services in the township. And so we had requested that this potentially could be that use. And the township reviewed that and determined that it would be better for us to seek a special exception as an expansion to an existing non-conforming use. So we've both submitted for the special exception and alternatively the interpretation issue, which I just mentioned, and any other relief that might be deemed necessary. Back in 1957, Aqua, or its predecessor at that time, applied to the township and received a special exception for the water tank and the pump station. And that was a different zoning district back then. So I'm not certain if the use was a permitted use by special exception or exactly what that was. The documentation we had doesn't make that totally clear. But in any event, to the extent that it wouldn't be a permitted use today, it would be a non-conforming use. And so this would be an expansion of an existing non-conforming use. So that's a very long-winded way of saying what we're doing here tonight. So we have two witnesses. Our first witness is an Aqua representative, and then we have our engineer. And I'll just quickly give out our exhibit packet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, can you please state your name and business address?
Sure. I'm Brennan Kelly, senior engineer with Aqua Pennsylvania. Address is 762 West Lancaster Avenue, Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania.
And are you authorized to speak this evening on behalf of Aqua Pennsylvania?
I am.
And we've attached as an exhibit a letter from Aqua stating that you are permitted to speak this evening. Is that correct? It's
That's
exhibit
correct.
A.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you just provide some background on the services Aqua provides to Newtown, the surrounding area, and in particular with respect to this property?
Sure. Aqua Pennsylvania is a water utility. We provide potable drinking water to the community. Yeah, water treatment facilities, distribution piping, tanks, boosters. So this station itself is a distribution water tank. We have a booster station that pumps water from the tank out to the system.
And how long has Aqua been providing water to Newtown?
Since 1950s.
And does Aqua view its work as providing a necessary service to the community?
Yes, clean drinking water is an essential part of
And are you familiar with the property that we're talking about this evening?
Yes, I am.
And looking at exhibit A4 and A5, there are copies of the deeds to the property, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you just, since the deeds are in the name of Philadelphia Suburban, which was the predecessor name to Aqua, can you just quickly tell us the connection between Aqua Pennsylvania and Philadelphia Suburban Water Company?
Sure. Philadelphia Suburban Water and Aqua Pennsylvania are the same company. In 2004, we legally changed the name to Aqua Pennsylvania.
And can you just generally describe the property and what Aqua uses it for today? You've already told us a little bit about that.
Sure, it's 3.7 acre property. Houses a 4.4 million gallon water storage tank. And a booster station as well as a treatment station combination. So the station looks at the water quality of the tank and treats it accordingly. Pretty much it.
And are you aware that Aqua received special exception approval in 1957?
Yes,
And we've attached as exhibits A6 and A7 copies of that historical 1957 zoning hearing board decision as well as the legal notice.
right.
Is that correct? Can you tell the board what Aqua would like to do with this addition to the pump station?
Sure, we'd like to add a building addition. Main reason is there's existing treatment equipment in the old building. It's kind of reached the end of its useful life. So the new equipment, today's modern equipment is a little bigger. So we want to expand a little bit, get that equipment in a more spacious area, which provides more reliability and personal safety for our employees.
Would that change any aspect of the way Aqua is currently operating that property?
Not at all.
And did you retain GHD Inc. to prepare a site plan?
Yes, we did.
And that's like exhibit A8. And then using exhibit A8, we can put up on the board. Well, can you identify the addition and the other changes that will be made?
Sure, the addition is
That's actually, I think,
So-
exhibit A9. So. Yep, both of them. You can use both exhibits, sorry. We knew we were gonna have some trouble with that.
An AV company.
Look up there, so it's fine. Fine, that we don't- Okay, I was looking at those.
I kind of want to watch this show. I want to see what's going to happen with this thing.
Okay. We need an easel specialist.
That's like fingernail.
Yeah.
All right, so using what's up on the screen,
okay.
if you could describe. what-
So the large circle is the 4.4 million gallon water storage tank. The square that's empty inside is the existing booster station. And the hatched square is the proposed addition to the station. The proposed addition will be the same height as the existing, the same facade and materials.
And then we were just looking a minute ago at the exterior renderings, if you can just, again, quickly describe what's up there.
So the existing building is the building next to the smaller white tank with the window. The building addition is on the double doors and the single man door.
And we're using, I think the next, actually that next exhibit's not up there, right? For that exhibit. There we go. Maybe it's that one. Using exhibit A10, if you can describe where the existing building is and where the proposed addition would be.
Okay.
And Brian can probably point to it as you're talking.
So the.
And is there any anticipation that any of those trees would have to be removed or would be damaged as a result of?
No, there'll be no change in landscaping.
Right, and certainly if anything was damaged, Aqua would replace it
Replace it, yes.
appropriately. Okay, that's all the questions I have for him, and then we have our engineer to just provide a little more detail. Do you have any questions for Brennan?
Not yet.
Should we strike from the record that we called you?
I'm gonna use that word specialist lightly. Yeah, you did use the quotes.
I appreciate.
So Andy, what's your thought on this? Like, what's,
Well, when I first looked at it, I thought that it was conforming, that's being expanded based upon the original application of 57. I didn't see it as a municipal. Our ordinance doesn't define a quick search of using Google, I found that it's regulated by. I consider it public utility and not a municipal.
Does, with this expansion happening, does the original piece go away as the new equipment goes in, or do you actually need higher footprint going forward? Because I'm looking at it thinking like, do you keep what's there in place, and then as the new equipment set up, that's going into this addition, and
Yeah, we need both buildings going forward. So the existing building houses the pumps that actually move the water out of the tank. Pretty good sized pumps. There's a bridge crane in there to move the pumps. Basically putting new chemical feed equipment in the new building. That matches stuff we're cramming in the old building.
And it will all be one building.
It will be one
building.
contiguous building.
And procedurally, I'm certainly not opposed to it. I just think that variance from our use case was it. I saw it.
And just to clarify, special exception
special exception?
as opposed to variance.
We need
A special exception to expand the legally non-conforming use.
I thought the special exception more increase.
Sure.
Do you be willing to put out more landscaping?
Certainly if it's necessary, as you could see from that, it doesn't appear that it would be seen, but I don't think Aqua has any problem
Yeah,
adding
no
additional
objection.
trees.
So just so I'm clear too, the original 1957, sorry. Just so I'm clear also, the original 1957 special exception was because it's in a residentially zoned area, R1. And it was non-residential direction, and or whatever happened on the property.
We're assuming that's the case
Yeah.
because we don't have the ordinance from 1957,
Yeah.
but it was zoned residential then too.
Got it.
So I'm assuming that the ordinance contains some provision that allowed the use by special exception.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
For the record, I can't correct it. I believe section applies to both subsection 172.1 B and I believe that both are. Right.
Into the second.
Right.
So it is special.
And as I said, we're still raising the issue in case you wanted to make any interpretation on the use, but certainly we're putting on a full record on the special exception, assuming that's the direction that would be appropriate. So if you don't have any more questions for Brennan, I can have the engineer come up. Okay, thanks, Brennan.
Thank you.
Cub Scouts.
You have to be sworn.
Yes, I do.
Can you please state your name and business address?
Charles Winslow with GHD. The address is 1140 Welsh Road, Suite 120, North Wales, Pennsylvania.
And what's your position with GHD?
I'm a project director, I'm an engineer, practicing for nearly 20 years.
And we've attached as exhibit A11 your CV, is that correct?
Yes,
And as you stated, you're a professional engineer licensed in Pennsylvania.
yes, that's correct.
It's like a party.
Like our
Cub
public
Scouts.
assistance.
Cub Scout.
They're all gonna come running.
These guys hate water filtration systems.
Have you testified before other municipalities
Yes, I have.
and you're familiar with property?
Yes, I am.
I'd like to ask if you be accepted as an expert in civil engineering. Thank you. And you're familiar with the township ordinances?
Yes, I am.
And your firm was responsible for the preparation of the various exhibits we've seen?
Yes.
So you've heard Brendan already describe what's being proposed and the property. So is there anything else you want to point out in terms of what's being added as a result of this project? We have to talk a little about.
Sure. I guess I'll just add, the addition would have a smaller footprint than the existing building, measures approximately 450 square feet. It's planned to extend from the north side of the existing building west toward Newtown Street Road, form an L shape, basically, as you can see in the previous exhibits. Besides the building structure itself, there's a small sidewalk being added to provide access to the existing driveway.
And will the plan meet all the area and bulk requirements of the ordinance?
Yes, it will.
And since we've already discussed the municipal use, I'm not going to ask you about that again.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the standards in the zoning ordinance with regard to special exceptions?
Yes, I am.
In your opinion, would Aqua's proposal meet those requirements?
Yes.
And just to quickly run through those, would Aqua's addition be prejudicial to the character of the immediate vicinity, and would it have any detrimental effect on neighboring properties?
No, this is a very minor addition, as you can see, which is, as I mentioned, proposed to be smaller than the existing building. The addition would also have a positive effect on the water quality for the surrounding community.
And would the addition be suitable for the property, and would it be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be in harmony with the existing or intended character of the immediate vicinity?
Yes, the addition was designed to be harmonious with the existing building. As Brendan mentioned, the building materials from the construction of the original building would be used for the new addition. The addition would also be the same height as the existing structure. Also, Aqua has committed to taking measures to preserve the existing landscaping, as we mentioned, property, and as we mentioned, has agreed to replace any landscaping that might be damaged during the construction process and adding any additional landscaping that you might require.
Would the addition have any negative effect on water, sewage, stormwater drainage, fire, and police protection?
No, in fact, the purpose of the addition is to improve, as I mentioned, the water supply and quality in the neighborhood, so it'd be just the opposite.
Would the use be physically suitable for the property such that there are no topographical, soil, geologic, drainage, or environmental features that would cause any adverse impact on health, safety, and welfare of the neighboring properties?
Yes.
Would the use be consistent with the community development objectives of the township comp plan?
Yes, this is an appropriate minor extension of a use that has existed in the township for nearly 7 decades, 1950s.
Would it substantially increase any traffic congestion?
No, the number of Aqua's visits to the site would remain unchanged after the addition.
Would it increase the danger of fire or panic or otherwise endanger the public safety?
No, not at all.
Would the addition overcrowd the land or create undue congestion of population?
No, this will not cause any increase in population. The property will continue to be under the permitted impervious coverage for the zoning district after this addition as well.
Would the addition impair stormwater management or cause soil erosion or impact the supply of light or air to adjacent properties?
No.
Would this addition be consistent with the character of the neighborhood?
Yes, as mentioned, the addition was designed in consideration of the existing building, so it could fit in with the surrounding community.
Would this addition be detrimental to other properties in the area or affect the character of the neighborhood by failing to conserve the values of existing buildings?
No,
Would the addition adversely affect the community development objectives of the zoning ordinance?
no,
Would the addition adversely affect off-street parking?
no,
Would the addition substantially burn in water, sewer, groundwater, schools, parks, or public facilities?
no,
Would it have any adverse impact on public health, safety, morals, or public welfare in any other way?
no.
So consistent with the zoning officer's opinion too, that this is a special exception, not a variance. If this board were to think it needed any variance relief, we're happy to put on any type of variance testimony as well. But otherwise, that's all the questions that I have.
With the new structure, does it will have any more noise coming out, or would be the same consistent what they have there now? Because I know there's a daycare there and there's a house behind it. Or any concern for,
No, there's no increase in noise.
Have there been any neighbors that have shown any, like, I know no one's here for this, but from the people that received the mail, or no one gave any pushback to the township or? And Mr. Score, what's the township's take on this, or you just? Okay, all right.
Well, I have a question, or maybe two. What's the expected duration of the project? And the second part of that question is, will there be any impact to, traffic on 252, or will all the vehicles be on site in the front of the property there in parking lots?
The project would be expected to be completed this year, and as far as impacts to traffic, all the construction work will be on site, so no impacts to the adjacent roadway.
Thank you.
Any questions or? Andy, any concerns from your side of things from? Okay,
Is there public comment?
I have no one's here they're all here with them.
Maybe Steve would say something, anything about that? That's what I think, see, that's good.
Nice to ask. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve application Z 2022-37 as a special exception to the existing legal non-conforming use with the condition that the property owner extend the landscaping along the fence line on the 252 street side.
Are you okay with that if that's in there too?
Do we know, just want to make sure we know where you mean.
So if you go back to that initial picture that you showed us, just
In front of the
basically
fence on
cover
252.
a little bit more of that up. I figure why not while we're at it. Just covering some more of what's exposed there now while you're working on this project, right?
In
Jay?
that space in the-
Or the tank is,
Yeah,
Yeah,
not all the way around, just the
Yeah, just
252
there.
side.
we can do that.
Okay,
all right. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion
Thank you.
carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah,
I'm not
is there
done.
any?
Hold
You're
on.
not done? El Presidente?
Where's everyone going? Meeting adjourned.